Alright, buckle up, buttercups, because today we are diving headfirst into the murky, Spanish moss-draped, and allegedly very haunted state of Louisiana. Welcome to our countdown of the top 5 most haunted places in Louisiana. Prepare yourself for some spine-chilling tales from the heart of the bayou. Louisiana feels like it was built on a foundation of spooky folklore, voodoo whispers, and a history so dramatic it practically screams for a spectral encore. So grab your grease-gree, say a little prayer to whoever you think might be listening, and let's venture into the haunted heart of Louisiana. It's going to be a bumpy and possibly ghoul-infested ride. First up on our spectral tour is the Myrtles Plantation, a place that proudly, almost boastfully, claims to be one of America's most haunted homes. And they're not shy about the numbers, folks. They say there are at least 12 different ghosts roaming these historic and probably very drafty hallways. 12! That's practically a spectral rugby team. You've got to wonder, is there a sign-up sheet? Do they have ghostly roommates squabbling over who gets the master bedroom? The sheer audacity of claiming a specific and rather large number of ghosts always gets me. It's not just some ghosts, it's a verifiable dozen. Visitors and staff brave souls, every one of them, have reported a veritable buffet of paranormal experiences. We're talking full-bodied apparitions, because why be a subtle ghost when you can be an in-your-face one? Then there are the mysterious footsteps, which, okay, old houses creak, I get it, but these are ghostly footsteps apparently. And the pièce de résistance, people claim to have been touched by unseen hands. Now that's where I draw a line. If a ghost is getting handsy, we've got problems. Is it a curious spirit, or just a spectral being with no concept of personal space? The most famous of these alleged 12 is a spirit named Chloe, a former enslaved woman who, legend has it, was punished horrifically for eavesdropping and now haunts the premises, sometimes appearing in a green turban. There are photos, of course, grainy and ambiguous, just the way we like them in the paranormal world. But 12 distinct entities? That's a lot of unresolved spiritual business for one plantation. Are they all from different eras? Do they have meetings? I have so many logistical questions for this ghostly ensemble. It's less a haunting and more a perpetual paranormal house party. Next, we venture into the heart of New Orleans, to a place with a history so dark it makes your average haunted house look like a bouncy castle. I'm talking, of course, about the infamous LaLaurie Mansion. Now this isn't your quaint, oh, I think I saw a teacup float kind of haunting. This place is notorious, and for very good, very gruesome reasons. The stories surrounding Madame Delphine LaLaurie and the atrocities committed within these walls in the 1830s are the stuff of nightmares. Genuinely horrific accounts of torture and cruelty inflicted upon enslaved individuals. So, it's hardly surprising that the dominant ghostly narrative here involves the tormented spirits of those who suffered. The most common claim, that the ghostly screams of tortured slaves still echo through its halls. Now that's a heavy claim. Screams are one of those classic haunting tropes, but given the documented history, it's a trope that carries a particularly chilling weight here. You can almost feel the pain and suffering trying to seep out of the very brickwork. It's the kind of place where even the most hardened skeptic might feel a shiver that has nothing to do with the air conditioning. The mansion has passed through many hands since the LaLaurie horrors were uncovered, and few owners have stayed long. Coincidence? Or perhaps living in a place so saturated with human misery just isn't conducive to a good night's sleep. Reports over the years include apparitions, moans, and that overwhelming sense of dread. While the veracity of specific ghostly encounters is, as always, up for debate, the sheer historical awfulness of the LaLaurie Mansion makes it a prime candidate for residual psychic energy. Or, if you're so inclined, some very angry, very justified ghosts. It's a grim reminder that some stains don't wash out, not even with time. Chapter 3. St. Louis Cemetery. Number 1. Voodoo Queens and Wandering Spirits. Probably just tourists, though. Alright, let's lighten the mood if you can call visiting a cemetery lightening the mood. We're off to St. Louis Cemetery Number 1, the oldest existing cemetery in New Orleans. And let me tell you, New Orleans cemeteries are a whole different breed. With their above-ground tombs, they look like little cities of the dead, which is admittedly pretty cool and also prime real estate for spooky stories. This isn't just any old boneyard though, it's the alleged final resting place of the voodoo queen herself. Marie Laveau, or at least one of them. History's a bit fuzzy on that. Now, Marie Laveau is a legend, a powerful, mysterious figure who wielded immense influence in 19th century New Orleans. So, naturally, people claim her spirit isn't exactly resting in peace. Many have reported seeing an apparition, believed to be Marie, wandering the labyrinthine paths of the cemetery, perhaps checking on her old stomping grounds or making sure people are leaving appropriate offerings at her supposed tomb. You'll see the X's marked on it, a tradition that's actually more modern tourist invention than ancient voodoo rite. But hey, it adds to the mystique, right? Aside from the Voodoo Queen, St. Louis No. 1 is said to host a whole spectral cast of characters. Given the sheer number of people interred here over centuries, in a city known for its, shall we say, history, it's not a huge leap to imagine a few lingering souls. You hear tales of ghostly figures flitting between the tombs, disembodied voices, and that classic cold spot. Of course, differentiating a genuine spirit from a lost tourist in a floppy hat can be a challenge in a place this popular. But the atmosphere, the history, the crumbling beauty, it all conspires to make you to believe. Chapter 4. The Old State Capitol, a ghostly legislator with unfinished business. Or maybe just bad plumbing again. Our next stop takes us to Baton Rouge, and a building that looks like it was plucked straight out of a Gothic novel, the Old State Capitol. Seriously, this place looks like a castle, complete with turrets and stained glass. It's the kind of building where you a ghost to be part of the standard amenities. And according to local lore, it doesn't disappoint. The primary spectral resident here is said to be the ghost of a former legislator, a chap named Pierre Couvillon, though some say it's a different politician. Details. The story goes that this legislator met his untimely end, not from a boring old age thing, but in a dramatic duel, or possibly from a heart attack during a heated debate. The legends vary, as they so often do. Regardless of how he shuffled off this mortal coil, his spirit is apparently still very much involved in state affairs, or at least in haunting the building where he once worked. Visitors and staff have reported seeing his apparition, sometimes described as a distinguished gentleman in period clothing, perhaps still trying to get that last bill passed. Beyond full-blown apparitions, there are the usual suspects: strange noises, cold spots, and that general feeling of not being alone, even when you are. Now, strange noises in a massive, old, castle-like building could be 1,000 things, from the wind whistling through ancient stonework to, extremely old plumbing making its opinions known. But a ghost who died in a duel? That's a narrative with some flair. It makes you wonder what unfinished business keeps him tethered to this earthly realm. Maybe he just really loved that stained glass dome. Chapter 5. Magnolia Plantation, shadow figures and things that go bump, and occasionally move your keys. For our final haunted hotspot, we journey to Natchitoches, try saying that 5 times fast after a few Sazeracs, to visit Magnolia Plantation. Like Myrtles, this is another historic plantation with a somber past, and it's said to be haunted by the spirits of former enslaved individuals. The weight of history hangs heavy in places like this, and it's often in these locations that stories of the paranormal take root and flourish, offering a different, more ethereal kind of testament to the lives lived and lost there. The reported paranormal activity at Magnolia is a familiar cocktail of ghostly phenomena. We're talking disembodied voices whispering from empty rooms, always a crowd pleaser. Then there are the shadowy figures, those fleeting glimpses in your peripheral vision that make you question your own eyesight. Are they tricks of the light or something more insubstantial? It's the kind of thing that can make even a staunch non-believer pause for a second, especially when you're wandering around an old, isolated plantation house as the sun goes down. But perhaps the most unsettling claims involve objects moving on their own. Now this is where things get interesting. It's one thing to hear a creak or see a shadow. It's another entirely for your meticulously placed car keys to suddenly appear on the other side of the room. That's active, that's interactive, that's a ghost saying, "Hey, I'm here, and I'm also a bit of a prankster," or possibly just very particular about where the keys go. It adds a layer of direct engagement to the haunting that's both intriguing and, let's be honest, a little bit unnerving. Outro. So, are you spooked yet? Or just covered in mosquito bites? Well, there you have it, folks. Our whirlwind tour through 5 of Louisiana's most notoriously haunted locations. We've waded through tales of spectral legislators, voodoo queens, tormented souls, and a frankly alarming number of ghosts allegedly cohabitating on plantations. Thanks for joining us on this eerie journey through Louisiana's most haunted places. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more spine-tingling content. It really helps the channel, and who knows, maybe it appeases some algorithm ghost. So, what's the takeaway? Is Louisiana the undisputed champion of haunted states? I mean, the atmosphere alone gives it a serious edge. The history is rich, complex, and often tragic, providing fertile ground for these kinds of enduring legends. Whether you're a die-hard believer in the paranormal, a curious skeptic like myself, or just someone who enjoys a well-told spooky story on a humid evening, there's no denying the allure of these ghostly tales. They're a part of the state's unique cultural tapestry, as much as jazz or crawfish etouffee. Did any of these stories send a shiver down your spine? Or do you have your own favorite Louisiana ghost story that we missed? Let us know in the comments below. I'm always on the lookout for a new tale to dissect, debunk, or just plain marvel at. Until next time, try not to think too hard about what that creaking sound is in the other room. It's probably just the house settling. Probably. Stay safe out there and maybe sleep with a nightlight on, just in case.